And here we got Narayan here after a successful 9-0 run with Vegapunk being the first champion at a large event for Vegapunk in North America. How does it feel?
It feels pretty good. It feels kind of shocking. A couple sort of luck conveniences went my way. I had
Sure.
a interesting little round 7 bye,
Yes. Yeah.
a round 8 bye, which was haven't seen that before, but I'll take what the deck wants. If
Yeah.
Vegapunk wants that to happen, it'll happen.
Yeah. Yeah. And for people who don't know the lore, Jackson was undefeated going into round 8, but his schedule only permitted him 7 rounds today. So after that, had to skedaddle. So fortunate for you for that. Maybe bad for your tiebreakers if you didn't become our undefeated.
It was decent in general. The Doofy matchup's pretty good, so I wasn't too worried about that. But take a free win as a free win.
Yeah, I think he was on Luchi though, so you might have been. That might have been a little bit scarier.
Nice. That would have been a little nice.
I know he was on Doofy a couple weeks ago. I think he was on Luchi today, though. But clearly, this was a meta where Doofy's very present. I would say, without knowing the numbers offhand right now, I would say about 20 to 25% of the tournament was that Doflamingo. That was an expectation, though, going into this, right?
Yeah.
And
I sort of built the deck with that in mind.
Sure.
Like I brought it knowing this is a very Doofy meta.
Yeah, and how many did you play today? I know I saw I think 1 or 2 of your games, and then that were Doofy.
I ended up actually round 1 by pretty regular for these events. Yep. Sometimes happens. Next 4 rounds in a row were all Doofy.
Okay, yeah.
So 4 in a row. After that, I didn't play one after. I think by the time we started getting the undefeateds, they ended up dropping a little more to like the Luchis and the black decks and stuff. But yeah, first I guess 4 games I actually played, rounds 2 to 5 were all Doofy decks.
Okay, yeah. So that's clearly what you wanted to see, right? Very good from there. And then you did get 1 bye for Luchi. We saw a Luchi in the finals, though, with that too. What were the other matchups going into
I got round 1 bye, went into 4 Doofys in a row, and then it was another Luchi match. Yeah, 5, and then another Luchi match.
So 6.
And then a black-yellow.
7.
Yeah, and then black-yellow, then the bye.
Yeah, and then another Luchi.
And then ended it off with the Luchi. So 4 Doofys, 2 Luchis, and a black-yellow Luffy.
Gotcha. So, and then of those matchups, I would say we were watching the pair down, right? It was going to be Bonnie. Yeah. My understanding is that might have been a rougher matchup to you if that was in finals. Is that true, or what's your experience?
That is like my absolute worst matchup.
Okay, cool.
From like gameplay and testing and stuff. Yeah. It is if this deck is so aggro, and I put down bodies. I try to have turn 1 6k bodies swinging, all that stuff. But as soon as they drop like a kid, my game plan is over.
Yes.
This deck cannot fight through kid whatsoever. So I was talking to my friends before the match started too. I was like, I know 3 undefeateds. There's a Luchi and a Bonnie. So there's only one way for me to get through this, and it's fighting the Luchi and the Bonnie to lose. That was my only way to win. Like, Bonnie is actually pretty much impossible. Like, it is a very rough matchup for a deck like this.
Yeah, because you're playing more aggressive. Them getting to rest something every turn, even if you have stage, is pretty rough. And I would assume, obviously you know more about Vegapunk matchups than I do right now, but that one on its head looks pretty tough for you. So
that one was one that I sort of made the meta call for, because for that one is when I play Katakuris and stuff like that, right? Because that's what helps beat that deck. But I cut every Katakuri. My only top end was the new 6-cost Linlin, because I just hoped I didn't see Bonnie, and I didn't. But that was just a hope. I know that matchup's so bad for me, and even teching those in as good options are always handy, but the matchup's still so unfavorable, so it's better to just tech against everything else and just hope I don't see Bonnies.
For sure. Yeah, I think that's fair for that, and clearly worked out for you, which is really nice.
Yep.
And then real quick, so we kind of touched on it. You're running, again, more, I'd say, aggressive, low to the ground version of it. What was the inspiration to that? Because most people are like, all right, gotta run 4 Katakuris, gotta run 4 Yamatos, a couple copies of 10-cost Anels or 10-cost Ace sometimes. What made you switch to your build?
So there were a couple things. Generally in the meta that I play in, there's a lot of there was Doofy decks, there's Luchi decks running around and stuff like that. And the way this deck ended up working is I would feel like those first 3 turns that I would play, where I would drop a 6k body, a second 6k body plus stage. The next turn I drop 2 more 6k bodies. That was the core of the deck. That's what made the deck so strong, and that's what helped it win. And so I just leaned into that. I was like, sure, I can do that. And then if they board control me and I start dropping Katakuris, like I can do that. But every time I would end up doing that, it feels like I'm losing tempo.
Yeah.
Like I'm just losing out. Like I needed that tempo. And so I ended up doing that. And then the other half of the answer, realistically, here is I didn't want to budget for 4 Katakuris when they were $60 each.
Yes.
Like realistically here, it's maybe not the best answer, but I didn't want to spend $200 on the card, so I built it as an aggro shell.
Sure. Yeah. And I think that's fair. And you know, you understanding. I think like 5-drop 6k bodies are kind of weird to interact with on a lot of decks right now.
They are very tough. It like 6k is always just a good number too, because you attach a Dawn, go for 7. Even like half of what the deck loves to do is swing the 6s early and just pressure the hand. Like I don't care. Like they can take the life, sure, but getting a 2k out of hand for a 6k swing just feels so good. Like without attaching the Dawn. And then 5 cost is perfect because you're looking at the Luchi matchup where it means that the main thing is Jack, right? It means Luchi can't leader effect plus Jack, or Smoker can't leader effect plus Jack. It needs that second card. And like Luchi too, 2/4 is easy for Luchi to do. Like you toss down pretty much anything and they get cleared. 5s are just very annoying number. Plus, looking at the Doofy matchup too.
Yeah, they can't remove it either.
Yeah, the laws don't hit any of them. The only thing they have to do is Jozu, and at that point, Jozu's a tempo loss if I'm building 2 bodies and he's Jozuing 1.
Sure.
So at 5 is just like the perfect number.
Yeah, I think it is a super good meta call for it. Real quick for like the other, I'd say there's 5 really good leaders in this match. Meta. How does Rob Lucci, Black Yo Luffy, and Anel feel? Those other 3 to round it out.
So, I'd say Lucci is. I feel like it's favorable towards me, but also I have a lot of practice with the matchup, and a decent percent of the advantage on this in this matchup is not knowing what my deck does, right?
100%.
And that plays an integral part in I know what cards to play around for them, they don't know what to play around for me.
Yeah.
Like the 6 cost Linlin, the Ace, those are like I've been playing egghead cards all game and I drop one of those and it's like a shock. And so that part plays a big edge. And like we saw a couple times, I think one might have happened on stream, people swinging into like Atlas.
Okay, yeah, that's exactly what
they'll read the card. They'll read the card. I'll tell them what the card does and stuff. Like I'll explain every card I play because I know they're not
because they're going to ask anyways.
People's brains just kind of turn off. Like they just see, rested 6k, let me swing into it. And it's like, doesn't feel great, of course, to like edge case like that. It's not really edge casing, it's a mistake, but it's like, it's just one of those things that like, if you make like half of this deck is they're going to make mistakes playing into it. And you just have to take advantage of that. And so the Luffy matchup or the Lucci matchup is, I think, pretty good because what I end up doing is I get that pressure, the board pressure on way before they're able to match it. Like Lucci likes to start coming online turn 4 where they start Jack and doing Jack stuff. Again, the whole deck being 5 costs mean Jack comes down and pops like a Lilith or it can pop like a Bonnie, not one of my actual threats on board.
Yeah.
So the matchup actually feels pretty good. Like both ones I won were pretty solid. I'd say the finals like
it looked like you were just
from the outside.
Yeah.
But I had like that final turn 2. I had my 3 cards left in hand. I don't think I showed them. I showed them to him after. There were 3 2Ks.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So I didn't even have to trigger that last.
Rayquaza.
Like sure, I got lucky. I got the Quasar, but I had 3 2Ks. I could have just countered out of the 9K swing because I just put on all this pressure, keep my 2Ks in hand. I don't really. Like, I don't have a use for them. If he swings at life, I take it, get a body on board.
Yeah.
So the Lucci matchup feels good. Black-yellow is a little dicey.
Yeah,
because,
I would say so.
If he can get the train going of starting to hit the Sabos, then my Namis become useless. Lucci doesn't hit anything in the matchup. Like, nothing. Luffy doesn't hit anything worthwhile in the matchup. S-Snake's pretty good in it. That's a nice sort of hit to have. But if they can start getting rolling, it's not good. So it's not, I'd say that matchup's slightly unfavored for me. But then again, too, if I can get that early pressure that my deck is anyone who wants to play Vegapunk, just win your die rolls. If you go first, you are at such an advantage compared to going second.
And I would say too, most decks that I know of in this format prefer to go second. Maybe not outrageously, but
so like I would even lose die rolls to like Doofy players or Luchi players, and again, they don't know the deck, so they go second. And I'm like, I'm happy going first.
Sure.
So another little edge of them not knowing the deck. But yeah, so the black-yellow matchup is not fancy. I don't like playing it. I don't feel great about it. But the general game plan in that matchup ends up being like, I'm not looking to Bonnie and build card advantage, or looking to like, I'm not trying to develop my Shaka, keep him up with Egghead, because that deck doesn't care about that.
No.
What I try to do in this matchup is I'll swing sevens. I'll just swing sevens, no starving. I'm not starving them out. I am like the one matchup I played, he's down to 1 life on turn 3. Or, down to 1 life on my turn 3 because of my swings. And then I start dropping Linlins. And that's what Linlin's for. Because I start dropping Linlins, and he's losing his life, trashing the cards in hand. And so that's when the deck just kind of, once I hit 7 Dawns, I guess, I start Linlin plus leader effect. And that feels really tough to sort of beat, because that's a lot of card advantage on my side. And so you start attacking the hand. And that's sort of the game plan for that. I wouldn't say it's favorable. Anel, I didn't have to play into any today. That matchup's a weird one.
Yeah, I can imagine. You're both at like 1 life, and
and it's like triggers on an L side, like Kiku Nojo, always active. That doesn't feel great. Like turn 1, or like I guess turn 2, swing, he flips the Kiku Nojo. Like that one's always active. Kingdom Comes, not great. Like all of these triggers are not great for the deck, but that matchup really ends up being like, do you have good things in your life, or are you going to die before you get to use any of your 10 costs?
Sure.
And that's how that, I think that's my sort of spread. So like, I'd say favorable, very favorable into Doofy. I like to think I'm favored into Luchi. Black Yellow is a bit of a toss up depending on who hits pieces better, and then starts to get a little more favored to them with an L, and then Bonnie is
Bonnie, rough stuff. I can
rough
very imagine when you already are losing your leader attack every turn, and then you lose a second from their effects, and
it gets rough.
I 100% agree with that. So I appreciate you giving us the insight.
Of course.
We will have your deck list and the rest of the top 16, probably 32, guaranteed 16. On the Carta Facebook this Monday, so make sure to check that out.
I hope people copy it. I hope people start trying out Vegapunk at their locals.
I said this to Brian too. Like, I'm both excited and terrified about how many Vegapunks.
If this starts becoming, I mean, people are like buying them on TCG already. All the Vegapunk alt-arts are selling. And good on you. Everyone, I want everyone to try the deck.
15 minutes ago.
I want everyone to try the deck. It's a blast to play. It is so much fun.
So I do appreciate that. And then also, this will be on YouTube for you guys to watch too. The entire matches, they should be re-uploaded there. And then lastly, any shout-outs from you, Narayan, before we end this?
So honestly, I'm Ottawa born and raised. I want to shout out Carta Magica. It's my go-to store, locals every Fridays. Great to play with the team, great to practice with just everyone there and stuff. And it's just shout out to Ottawa, honestly. Like I was
secretly born there too.
On the map.
You don't know this, but definitely.
Let's go Ottawa.
Oakville, baby.
Let's go. No, putting Ottawa on the map. Carta's like, sure, there's a store in Montreal, but play a Carta all the time. Everyone there is great. Like, great to play against, so much good practice and stuff. But shout out Ottawa, shout out Carta Magica, like good store, good community, great competitive environment to test out with.
And I love North America too, and it's cool to have Carta Magica as our Canadian TO, and it always feels good to work these and see a Canadian win it. So I'm happy you're able to take it home for the country today. So
always gotta put Canada there.
It's there. It's hard to miss on the map, but we still gotta put it there. So cool. That's gonna be it for this stream, though. We do appreciate it. Once again, thank you to Carta Magica for hosting it. Went really smoothly. Congrats to Narayan. Thank you to all the judges too. This is a lot of work behind the scenes, as you guys can quite imagine, and we really do appreciate it. So that's gonna be it for this one. Again, one more time, congrats to Narayan. Congrats to Canada, and we'll catch you next time. Bye bye.